Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm Anand Chokkavelu, and we've got longtime fools Travis Hoium and Jose Najarro giving a 1 to 10 rating to the platform freelancers use to get jobs, along with Upwork. It's Fiverr, ticker symbol FVRR. First, we'll rate the strength of its business, including factors like industry and competition. A 10 is invincible. A 1 is hopeless. Travis is at a 6. Jose, you're only at a 5.
Yeah, so I mean, Fiverr's definitely a solid brand. I mean, but to me, the gig economy is fatiguing, and especially with direct hires of AI tools, this can continue to narrow Fiverr's moat faster than maybe some bulls expected. A perfect example: I used to use Fiverr last year very extensively. By this time, I probably already had spent a few $1,000s in Fiverr. Right now, I've used zero because AI has kind of taken a lot of those solutions for me. Overall, there's still kind of that two-sided network with over 3.5 million active buyers, and they do have a nice kind of take rate of 27.7%. But right now with that AI market, I'm not going to put it as anywhere near invincible, and it's definitely more like a coin flip to me right now, depending on how this market continues to evolve.
Yeah, I want to like Fiverr a lot more than I do. And this was one of the companies I was really impressed with during the pandemic. You know, I mean, that was kind of the Peloton story too. But I think one of the things that's been challenging for them is they sort of made a lot of this freelance market, but then they didn't adapt the business model at all after that. So you have a lot of different innovations that are happening in freelance business models, you know, from subscriptions or that you can get for designers. Fiverr's not really going to play in that quite as much. Then how do you monetize when a designer, for example, goes directly to their customer and, you know, develops that relationship directly? They're going to be kind of cut out of the market. So I think it's just a challenging business. That said, I was surprised to see that revenue is still growing. So this is not a business that's, you know, really, you know, in a dire position right now, but it's just, I think there's a lot of opportunities that they've kind of missed over the last few years. And that's why I'm going pretty low here.
For management, a 10 is Warren Buffett, a 1 is Homer Simpson. Both of you have 6s, Jose.
Yeah, so 6 here. I mean, I think management has done really well building the business overall. I mean, 2013, this was making barely $24 million. Now it's guiding for about $430 million in 2025. They also recently just kind of gave the green light for their first $100 million buyback. And more importantly, I do believe management is a little bit more transparent than maybe some other industries on how the AI disruption is kind of hurting or creating a headwind for their business. So that kind of honesty gives credibility in my opinion. So kind of giving it a 6 out of 10. But like kind of Travis mentioned a little bit, kind of failed to maybe stabilize some of the user growth so far. And the market's a little bit iffy. So management definitely has not handled it for a perfect 10, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to judge some of these companies where you go, wow, in 2013, this was a tiny business. And then management grew it to the business that we know today. And as businesses go through cycles, sometimes different leadership is really needed. And I think that's where we may be at with Fiverr, where, you know, as the gig economy, freelancers really grew to prominence, there was a lot of tailwinds behind the company. But now that you have so much competition, what is Fiverr going to do a little bit differently? I don't think they currently have those answers. And that's why I just can't go higher than about a 6.
For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Travis has a 4. Jose, you have a 5.
Yeah, for 5, again, I consider for me a 5 like a coin flip here. And right now we are seeing some active buyer shrinkage. We're also seeing kind of some modest decline in marketplace revenue. Not much, very, very low single digits. But this is kind of showcasing that maybe the AI competition is definitely here. And that's that we haven't even gotten to AI agents. What happens when AI agents do really take place? How is that going to affect? Obviously, Fiverr will be able to monetize that somehow as well. So for that, right now with financials and with the overall competition, I'm giving it a 5.
Yeah, I guess I went a little bit lower with 4, and I'm being a little bit harsh because they do have a pretty good balance sheet. There's over $200 million in net cash on the balance sheet. Could certainly pay down that debt. But it is hard to see a business where the number of buyers is in decline, and your hope is that you're just going to keep extracting more from the existing buyers. Like Jose has been talking about, the questions with artificial intelligence, I think, are just too big to ignore. You know, we'll get to this in the next section, but the potential outcomes are just so wide for Fiverr. You know, this is a company that in 5 years, maybe it doesn't exist as the current business that we know today, or maybe they figure out AI and thrive. But right now, things aren't moving in the right direction, and so we got to go really low.
Travis, let's move on to valuation. How well will Fiverr stock do over the next 5 years, and how safe is it? A 10 is a sure thing. A 1 is a lottery ticket.
Yeah, I'm going to maybe be a little bit surprising and say that I do think we have positive returns, at least as sort of the most likely outcome, 5 to 10%. But that safety score is pretty low at 3. And the reason is I think the distribution of possible outcomes is just so wide for Fiverr. But I do keep in mind that revenue continues to grow. It's up double digits over the past year. Fiverr is now profitable. They do have a really good balance sheet. So there is sort of some optionality there in the financials if they can figure this out. It's a possibility that if they can, this will be a $10 billion business. So that means, yes, it could go to 0, but it also could 10x in value because the stock is so cheap, trading for 11 times forward earnings estimates right now. So there's just so many potential outcomes. That's a little bit of a punt. That's why I went so low on the safety score.
Yeah, I actually like this style. It's very similar to Travis. So even though maybe I was a little bit more bearish in the previous points, I think the compounded annual growth rate, I'm going to go a little bit more bullish, is 10 to 15%. I mean, with a market cap of almost just a little bit higher than $1 billion, the optionality is there. And we're very early in the AI stages that if they do adapt into this AI market even better, and if there are some products that they can increase retention and users overall, it can help with multiple expansion. Now, in forms of safety score, I maybe I was a little bit too modest here. I was giving it the benefit of the doubt. I gave it a 4 out of 10. Again, it's like Travis mentioned, it's tricky, and it all depends on how the evolution of current technology happens and how it's going to impact the overall stock in the next 5 years.
Time for everyone's favorite topic. Travis, is there a company in Fiverr space that you like better?
I broadened the Fiverr space a little bit to basically two-sided markets, because I think if you're interested in Fiverr, that's probably one of the features of the business that you like. So in those two-sided markets, I really like where Lyft is sitting right now. They have a lot of optionalities with autonomous driving. It's a value stock. They just announced a massive new buyback program. So two-sided markets, I like Lyft a little better.
Yeah, I actually like where Travis was thinking. I totally forgot to think outside of the box. The only one I put Upwork here. Main reason is I do believe for like those bigger enterprise exposure, that's going to be a little bit more stickier than kind of your Fiverr customers. Like I mentioned previously, I used to be a massive Fiverr buyer. Now I'm no longer a form of user there. And I think because of that, I don't think that same type of threat is there for Upwork just yet. So for right now in this business, I think I would put Upwork over Fiverr.
Oh, that's what everyone wants to know, right? Do you prefer Fiverr or Upwork if you're going to buy one or the other? Thank you to both Jose and to Travis. They've given Fiverr a low overall score of a Fiverr, 5.2 out of 10. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is Coca-Cola. Till then, Fool on.